I'm your host, DJ Damashii, also known as Rodeo 670 on Steemit, and you're listening to us live on MSP Waves Radio, hosted by the Minnow Support Project, a community of Steemit users who are dedicated to helping newcomers to the Steem blockchain achieve success through community building, networking, and mutual support. Like I said, I'm DJ Damashii, also known as Rodeo 670 on Steemit, and you are tuning in to the 11th ever live broadcast of The Dancing Dreamers with DJ Damashii. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in to the previous 10 episodes of this first ever Steam related EDM radio show. And thank you, of course, to everyone who's tuning in right now. Before I begin, I do have to inform you all that MSP Waves Radio and its owners take no responsibility for the opinions or statements made by the talk show host or their guests. Statements and show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of the radio station. The material on The Dancing Dreamers with DJ Damashii is provided for educational and informational purposes only. And with that, those of you who have been listening to my radio show for a while, you know that I like to start my shows off with some music to get you guys in the right mood, to get the energy flowing, that kind of thing. So tonight, I'm going to start you guys off by playing... let's see. I'm going to play for you guys Beautiful Now by Zed. So here's that one for you. All right, everyone. Once again, that was "Beautiful Now" by Zed. Oh man, what a good song, right? Like I love that song so much. There's so much energy. The words are just, they're really like, I don't know, they're really meaningful words to the song. It's just really good. We sometimes we just need that reminder that we are beautiful now. We a lot of times I feel like we tend to get down on ourselves and think that we're not beautiful. But at a rave, honestly, you just have to believe in yourself and believe that you're beautiful, and other people will see it too. It's one of the things that I love most about raves. Anyway, you're listening to the Dancing Dreamers with DJ Damashii on MSP Waves Radio, and I just wanted to take this time to say thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in right now. I see Asan Intrigue is here, Birds in Paradise, Breeze, Dada Damien, Damien J Clay, Pensif is here, Fedizzle. Quol, Ron Dute, Soundwave Soton, and Stacey Jean, and Trevor Petrie. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being here. Alright, so tonight, for this 11th episode of the Dancing Dreamers with DJ Damashii, I wanted to talk about, partially for part of the episode, I wanted to talk about my experiences at Get Lucky 2018. And for those of you who have no idea what that is, Get Lucky is an EDM festival that is hosted yearly here in Salt Lake City, Utah. It's put together by V2 Presents. They are the premier EDM event company here in Utah. They're the biggest one. They put out all the best festivals. They have multiple festivals that they throw throughout the year, actually, and they never disappoint. Honestly, they always put forth, like, I guess it's weird for me to say that because I've only been to two V2 festivals. Get Lucky is my second V2 festival that I've been to. The first one I've ever been to was Das Energy last year, and that was, man, that was amazing. Anyway, so tonight, if you guys read the post, you'll know that I'll be talking about my experiences at Get Lucky. And then I'll also be going over this concept of EDM culture, of rave culture, called the Rave Fam, or Rave Family. And then that will also tie into rave names. And so I'll be revisiting this concept of rave names. Those of you who listened to the third episode of my show know that I did go over it back then, but I wanted to go over it again this week for this episode. So hopefully you guys learned something new. If not, hopefully you're reminded of the importance of rave names. So without further ado, let's get right back into it, and let's talk about Get Lucky. So when Get Lucky was first announced and the lineup came out, I was really, really hoping that they would announce some hardstyle artists, because everybody that I talked to, all my friends here in Utah who've been involved in the rave scene here, they all told me that last year Get Lucky was stacked with hardstyle artists, and so I was looking forward to that again. I was a little disappointed when the full lineup came out and there was no hardstyle, but V2 put together such an amazing show, and I have no complaints, honestly. The lineup that they released was so amazing, and despite there not being any hardstyle, the sheer scale of the artists that they brought to Utah more than made up for it, and I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, Above and Beyond is one of my favorites of all time, and so as soon as they announced that Above and Beyond was going to be here, I knew that I had to go. I just knew, there was no question about it anymore, and I had my heart set on going to Get Lucky, as soon as that happened. But then some stuff came up and life happened, and my best friend had to get surgery that prevented him from being able to go with me. And so I was really actually on the fence about going to Get Lucky, all the way even up to last Friday, the first day of Get Lucky. I really didn't want to. I don't want to say that I didn't want to go, because I really wanted to, but I don't know. I think a part of me kind of felt guilty about wanting to still go, even though my usual my usual raving partner in crime was no longer able to go with me. We were both really bummed out about that because we were both really looking forward to going to Get Lucky. And I was, oh man, I think the biggest bummer about that, honestly, is that I was really looking forward to sharing an above and beyond experience with my best friend, and having him see above and beyond live for the first time ever, because they're just so good. So, like, there's no words, honestly, there are no words to fully describe just the sheer magnitude of above and beyond. And I'm sure all above and beyond fans that are listening will agree with me that it's magical. It's a magical experience. you know Anyway, so at Get Lucky this year, something really cool happened, like, shortly after I got to the venue. My friends and I guess I should backtrack a little and say, because I didn't go with my best friend, who is my usual company, my usual partner in crime when it comes to raving. I decided to reach out to some new friends. One of my new friends, Michael, who I had met at Decadence. I decided to ask him, if I could just kind of hang out with him and his friends, because he said that he was going to be going with a bunch of his friends, and of course, he said, yeah, of course, and so I met up with him, and we hung out, and we got to Get Lucky right around the time that Buku's set was starting, and I was so excited because I had just recently discovered the amazing, mind-blowing sounds of Buku, and I loved it, and I knew, I was like, all right, we got to get there in time for Buku. And luckily for me, because I was hitching a ride with Michael and friends, and luckily for me, everybody else also wanted to get there by the time Buku's set started, so everything worked out. It was great. So anyway, we got to Get Lucky. We got to the Great Saltaire, and we got ourselves situated in our little spot, and then I put my mask on. I have this really sick, like, light up mask that lights up, and, like, it lights up in reaction to sounds. So depending on, like, how heavy the sound is, it'll, like, light up here and there, and it's really cool, and it gets people's attention at raves, right? So as soon as I put my mask on, not even like 5 seconds after it's on my face, this girl comes up to me, and she's like, "Hey, I love your mask. Do you want to trade candy?" And I'm just like, of course. Like, is that a serious question? I'm always down to trade candy. Thank you for for complimenting my mask. Like, so we get into it and we trade candy. She gave me this, like, really cool, candy with, like, a little box on it that actually opens up, and, like, I can, like, I don't know. They're like, I don't know. It's just cool. Anyway. And then, so I look at my candy that I have to give away, and I'm kind of trying to decide, what I should give to this girl, and I just, I don't know what it was, but I picked this candy that I made that said Headbanger and had elephants on it, and so as soon as it passed over onto her wrist, she got super excited, and she was so happy, and she's just like, "Oh my God. This is so cool. Like, elephants are my favorite animal. Like, this is so crazy that you gave me a candy with elephants. I love elephants so much." And so I was so happy. I thought it was pretty sick that, like, the candy that I chose to give her, just so happened to, to have elephants on it, which were her favorite animal. And cool stuff like that happens to me all the time at raves. It's like I don't know. Once you're at a rave, you kind of just, like, you match wavelengths with people, as crazy as that'll sound, but you kind of just, like, get a good, like, read for people, and you can kind of go from there. Anyway, so one of the cool things about Get Lucky this year, I went outside and I went out back, and I found out that they had actually laid asphalt down behind the Great Saltaire, to set up this stage out back called the Tent of Gold, and it actually was really cool. At first, people were skeptical about it when they heard that there was asphalt out back, because one of the cool things about the Great Saltaire, and festivals that happen at the Great Saltaire, is that there's a lot of grass in the back. Specifically, there's, like, a little hill that kind of overlooks the stage out back. and a lot of times people will just kind of chill on the hill during these EDM festivals at the Great Saltaire, and it's like a staple of the festival experience at the Great Saltaire. So a lot of people, when they heard that they had asphalted the back, they were worried that that maybe they had gotten rid of that hill, but nope, it's still there, everyone. It was cool. Yeah, they only asphalted a certain portion of the back, just to fit the tent of gold in, and it was perfect. Honestly, the sound in the tent was amazing. Because the sound was bouncing off the asphalt and bouncing off the ceiling of the tent and whatnot. It was really cool. Let's see. You know what? Actually, I feel like I've been talking for a little while, so I'm going to play you guys a song, and it's going to be. Let's see. I'm gonna play you guys a song called "Again," and it's by Casbo. So here's that for you guys. All right, we're back once again, everyone. That was "Again" by Casbo. You're listening to The Dancing Dreamers with DJ Damashii on MSP Waves Radio. And so far tonight, I've been talking about my experience at Get Lucky this year here in Utah. So, one of the cool things that happened to me actually at Get Lucky, I got an opportunity. I was presented with this opportunity to reconcile, have this big like reconciliation with some friends of mine who I had met them, well, not met, but we had I had been adopted, I guess, by them uh, at DOS Energy last year. And we were really great friends, and we hung out, several times, and things were great. And then we had like this huge drama thing that happened, and it was all over this huge misunderstanding, and it caused these guys to like kind of cut off communication with me and my best friend for a very long time. And so one of the thing, and once I found out that they were all going to Get Lucky, one of the things that it was like one of my missions that night. I was hoping that I would bump into them. In fact, I was trying to contact them through Snapchat, but service at Get Lucky was horrible, right? So eventually, at one point, I was just like, all right, universe, you know how much I really need this to happen. You know how badly I'm really hoping this happens. So, just make it happen, universe, please. And sure enough, I just happened to randomly bump into him on my way outside at one point, and I just, oh my god, it was like this huge deal, and we all just like, I said sorry for everything, and I explained myself, and they were really cool about it. They were like, yeah, it's cool, don't even worry about it, it's fine, like we're good now, and so we all hugged, and we traded candy and stuff. It was sick. I really, that was one of the highlights of Get Lucky day one for me. Anyway, so another cool thing that happened at Get Lucky, I went outside, and while I was outside in the tent of gold, I met this girl, Mel, who was gloving, and she gave me this sick light show. It was insane. I don't really know how to describe light shows, honestly, other than just calling them insane. Like they always blow my mind every time. And so we got around to talking after she got done with her light show, and I honestly, honestly, my memory of that night is kind of shot in places, and so I don't really remember what we talked about. But I'm assuming it was a very deep conversation, and we talked about some really good stuff because she was, by the end of our conversation, she was like, we need to hang out sometime because I really need your energy in my life. And I thought that was so cool. Like, nobody's ever said something like that to me. And so, yeah, it was really sick. One of the cool thing about that meeting, though, is later on in the night, at the end of day one, I came to find out actually that Mel, that girl Glover who I had met, she was actually really good friends with my friend Jake, Cynical Optimist, who has been on this show, and who's on Steam It. And so when I pieced that together, I was just like, oh my god, that's crazy that we made this connection, and here you are, like really good friends with my friend Jake. Anyway, another cool thing that happened that night, I randomly bumped into this dude who I thought I knew. He looked so familiar. He looked like somebody that I knew, right? And so I was just like, oh my god, dude, like, and 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 he was like, no, no, that's not me. But and then he thought that I was someone that he knew, and so he started asking me questions about like this and that, and I'm like, oh no, dude, that's not me either. And so we both thought it was like really funny that we both thought that the other person was someone that we knew, and we both ended up being complete strangers. So we just like at the end of it, we just like hugged each other and said, hey, it was nice meeting you. Have fun tonight. And with that, I'm going to play you guys another song. This is Mercy by Cascade and Galantis. All right. Again, everyone, that was Mercy by Cascade and Galantis. So we're talking about Get Lucky. Uh, let's see. I finished talking about day one. Let's talk about day two now. So, day two of Get Lucky. Oh man, that was definitely my favorite night of Get Lucky. Um, First of all, I got there before the doors even opened. Those of you who were listening to my radio show last week, I did a giveaway on my radio show as part of my newly established Raving Through Steam initiative, which aims to get ravers onto Steemit so that, like myself, they can start funding their raving habits through Steam. And I did it as a way to try to, just to try to help people rave, basically, because I personally honestly believe that everyone should go to a rave at least once in their life, and experience the magic of an EDM festival for themselves. It truly is a life changing experience, honestly, and I honestly, I mean, call me idealistic, call me a dreamer, whatever, but I honestly believe that this world would be a much better place if everyone could just discover the magic of the rave for themselves. So I did a ticket giveaway for day two of Get Lucky, as last week on my show as part of that Raving Through Steam initiative. And Robo Raver, whose name is Tyler, he was the winner of it, and so he met up with me at the entrance before the doors open. And he's a really cool dude, and he's been raving for a while, and we got to talking for a little bit. We traded candy, and it was my very first candy necklace trade ever, so I was really excited. He gave me this sick tritonal perler, and yeah, it was sick because tritonal is one of my favorites too, and so I loved it. I gave him this like cube thing that I had made a while back, and I never traded it with anyone because I don't know, I grow attached to the candy that I make sometimes, especially when it's cool, like a little cube like that. But anyway, so Tyler then informed me that he had actually already had a VIP pass for himself for that day. So his plan was to give the ticket that he won away to someone else who he felt needed it. And so enter Soraya, this girl who met up with us at the entrance before it all opened up. She came in, and she actually was she was observing the 10-year death anniversary of her father that weekend, and she was someone that one of Tyler's friends had referred to him, in terms of giving that ticket away. And so we all met up and talked for a little bit, and then so I recorded this video of like me handing the ticket over to Tyler, who then handed the ticket over to Soraya, and that was that. We all had a really great time, had a good night, and I hope that Soraya was able to use the healing power of trance music to her advantage that night. Um, yeah, it was really cool. That was very plur of you, Tyler, if you're listening right now. And that was awesome. And Tyler, by the way, oh my God, I don't know if it was his act of plur right there, or if he's just a really lucky guy, or what. But Tyler, who won the ticket, actually ended up being the luckiest guy at Get Lucky, because he ended up being one of the people that got chosen by Above and Beyond to come on stage and push the button that night. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, when I found out, when I found out that it was him that got chosen, I was telling all my friends, like, oh my God, the guy that pushed the button at Above and Beyond tonight is the guy that won the ticket giveaway. And so, oh, that's insane. Like, yeah, how crazy is that, So anyway, that was really cool. That night though, Get Lucky night 2, day 2, it was so amazing. It was the perfect experience for me, honestly, and just the people that I met that night, the sets that I saw, the music that I felt, it was just everything came together on that second night of Get Lucky to provide me with just this perfect experience that I would not have changed for the world. I connected with so many people, and specifically people in Michael's rave family who are now my rave family. I am a part of their rave family now. That's I that oh my god, it's just cool because I've never really had a rave family here in Salt Lake in Utah, and so it's cool that now I have all these cool friends to hang out with, not just at raves, but to hang out with outside of raves. And these people are quickly becoming really good friends of mine, and it's awesome how that works, how you meet people at raves and become friends with them and start hanging out with them, in the real world or whatever. But anyway, yeah, I that night was just so special and so magical because I've seen Above and Beyond so many times in my life, in my raving life. I honestly can't even count how many times I've seen them. I don't really. It's just been so many that I don't remember the exact amount, But I've seen Above and Beyond so many times, and they're amazing every single time. But that night at Get Lucky, for whatever reason, I still haven't quite been able to pinpoint why this was, but for whatever reason, this set that Above and Beyond did at Get Lucky 2018 at the Great Saltaire, it was the best Above and Beyond set I had ever seen in my entire life, and the most magical. There was just something about it that just really outdid every single time I'd seen them before. And I really, that night is going to be a night I will never forget, honestly, and I can honestly say that. There's just too much magic that happened that night, and it's just, oh my god, I'm talking your ear off nights. So I'm gonna pause this real quick to talk, not to talk. Yeah, I've been talking. I'm gonna take a little musical break, and I'm gonna play one of my favorite Above and Beyond songs from their group therapy album. This is "Thing Called Love" by Above and Beyond. All right. Once again, everyone, that was Thing Called Love by Above and Beyond. Oh man, Above and Beyond is so good, guys. If you ever get a chance to see them, I strongly suggest you go and do that because I mean, their music just takes you away to another place, honestly, and you're filled with good vibes and love, and it honestly it really is a group therapy session every time you go to Above and Beyond shows. It's perfect. I have nothing bad to say about Above and Beyond ever. So anyway, with that, that concludes my Get Lucky portion of my show. Oh my God, it took way too long. The funny thing about this radio show is every time I plan this out, right? Every time I write up my outline, I'm always like, oh man, how am I gonna fill out the first hour of my show? And I always end up when it finally comes time for me to be live on the air and to go along with my little outline that I create. I always end up talking for like way longer than I intend to, and I mean I've been on for like almost 45 minutes now, and I'm still not even like halfway through my outline, which sucks, right? But anyway, hopefully I'm not talking your ear off, and hopefully you guys are actually like learning something cool. Now is the time for me to finally talk about the Rave fam, the Rave family, and so I've up until this point, right? Up until I got to Get Lucky, I've actually never had the pleasure of experiencing a legit rave fam experience. And by legit, I mean like, a local rave fam that actually gets together and hangs out outside of raves. And so I guess some of you are asking, what is a rave fam? I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a group of people who you've come to know as your family at raves, and you all go to raves together, and you take care of each other, and you check up on each other like actual family, and you're there for each other, and you enjoy the music together. But that's not where it ends. The thing that sets rave fams apart from just anyone that you meet at a rave, any new friends that you make, is that. So I don't know if this is the case with all people or most people, but for me anyway, when I make new friends at a rave and we exchange contact info, 99% of the time, I don't actually end up hitting those people up, and they don't end up hitting me up. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. Maybe that's just part of the raving experience that you meet all these cool new people at raves, and you click real well with them, and then you go back into the real world, so to speak, and out of nowhere the fear sets in that, oh, what if I try to hang out with them, and suddenly they think they realize I'm not as cool as I was at the rave or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's a reason. Maybe that's my reason. I honestly don't know. But for whatever reason, most of the time I end up not really hitting people up that I meet at raves, right? Which is why I think it's so cool that, my friend Michael, I ended up, actually hitting him up after I met him at Decadence, and we hung out a few times. And we became actual friends outside of the rave, and now he's introduced me to his friends, his rave fam, and I've actually, shortly after Get Lucky, just yesterday actually, I hung out with some of them, and it was such a cool experience. It was so much fun, and these people are people who I actually like. I look forward to seeing them all the time, and I look forward to really developing like real, deep friendship, deep bonds of friendship with these people. They're all such cool people, and oh my God. The thing about me is when I make new friends, like, and I actually like intend on befriending them and being real friends with them, I always want to like hang out with them all the time. And so I'm in that mode right now with these new friends that I made in this rave fam that I officially got adopted into over the past weekend at Get Lucky. And it's just, I don't know. I almost want to say that being a part of a rave fam, and going to raves with your rave fam really like changes your life, and it really like amplifies your raving experience. And that's why I believe now being a part of this rave fam, it has taught me the importance of having a rave fam, and being a part of that rave fam experience. because, I mean, anyone can make friends at raves, and you can hang out with anyone at raves, honestly, but when you're with a group of people who you've come to know as your rave fam, and you hang out with them outside of a rave, they're not just random people that you met at a rave anymore. They're people that will always have your back no matter what. They're people that will always be there to take care of you at a rave, and they're people that will check up on you and always provide you with whatever you need if they have it. And it's a bond that is like no other. I feel it's very different from just the random friend or two that you make at a rave, which isn't to say that random friend or two is not someone that you could potentially become rave fams with. Of course, like I said, my entry into this rave fam that I'm a part of now, it started with me becoming friends with Michael at Decadence last year, and so it's truly a magical experience. And I love it, and because I'm a part of this rave fam now, I will never be a lone wolf at a rave anymore, it's such a great thing to think about. And with that, I'm gonna play you guys another song. This is Lone Wolf by Bingo Players. And we're back. Once again, you are listening to The Dancing Dreamers with DJ Damashii on MSP Waves Radio. And that song we just heard was Lone Wolf by Bingo Players. All right, everyone, tonight we've been talking about my Get Lucky 2018 experience. And just before that musical break, we were talking about rave fams. So, I actually learned this last night, just through everything that was going on, as I was hanging out with my new friends. It's actually, in my opinion, anyway, I should say, it's really important to get together with at least some members of your rave fam after the rave, shortly after the rave, not like immediately after, but not only to like decompress together, but to really fortify your relationship outside of the rave setting, and to really reinforce this idea that yes, I do want to be your friend, not just at raves, but I want to be a real friend to you, and I want to be involved in your life, and I want you to feel like I'm someone that you can, like extend true friendship towards. And so last night I hung out with Michael and a few of my other, new friends. Yeah, we all just like hung out at our friend Ryan's house, and me, Brandon, and Ryan, and oh my God, and Parker. We all just like hung out and played video games and got some Thai food and listened to music, and Brandon played us some music and DJ'd for us, and we played pool. It was so much fun. I yeah, it was really good to see those guys again after the rave, and it made it all like real for me, like suddenly these new friends that I had made weren't just people that I raved with. They were actual friends that I could hang out with even when we're not raving together, and that's so important in terms of rave fams. Like that's I feel like that's the glue that holds rave fams together. We is this aspect of hanging out outside of raves, and being real friends, and a real support system to each other outside of raves. So I thought it was really cool. And being adopted into this rave fam, and meeting all these amazing people, and becoming friends with them, it definitely more than made up for the huge bummer that was the whole oh man, J Dubs can't be with me for this rave this time thing. Because that was really bumming me out, honestly, that my best friend, who is my usual raving partner in crime, couldn't be there with me. But as they say, everything happens for a reason. And so now, in retrospect, looking back on it, I understand now that maybe that's why J Dubs had to get that surgery and had to have this time out, so that I could meet these amazing new friends, and become a part of their rave fam, and just see what the future holds for me from this point on with this rave fam. I just everyone that I met was amazing, and had such great energy, and I loved it all, and I can't wait to hang out with all these friends again. Like they're just great, and if anyone in the rave fam is listening right now, thank you so much for accepting me. Honestly, it means the world to me that you guys just accepted me with open arms, and truly made me feel loved and welcome. That really, oh my God, I could cry, honestly. Like it's amazing. Rave fams are amazing, guys, and if you're a raver, and you rave solo, I highly encourage you to seek out your rave fam, and just radiate plur everywhere you go, and make friends, and as the saying goes, your vibe attracts your tribe. And I'm glad that in my case, my particular vibe attracted this particular tribe, and I fit in. I seem to fit in with them, and I'm grateful for that. So one of the questions that came up when I was planning this show is, can you have more than one rave fam? To which I responded, of course you can. I mean, I myself have more than one. I mean, I have my AZ rave fam. All my friends who I met at EDC and who I partied with at EDC, who all live in Arizona. They're we I mean we haven't gone to anything since global, but they're planning on going to Forest, and so I'm really looking forward to raving with them again at Electric Forest this year. That is like the big trip that we're all doing this year, and it's going to be amazing because now that I'm a member of this rave fam here in Utah, which is I guess I have to consider them my main rave fam now because they're here in Utah with me, and they're the people that I'll be raving with the most, aside from my best friend. And they're the people who I'll be hanging out with a lot outside of raves. So my Utah rave fam is my main rave fam. And then there's also rave fams that are centered around specific festivals, which is like my Forest fam. And that is going to be a blending of my AZ rave fam and my Utah rave fam, as well as some other people who have already been to Electric Forest many times, the Forest veterans who are like kind of the main people in the Forest fam. And I'm looking forward to meeting everyone. In the case of the Forest fam, I actually haven't met everyone in person, but I'm looking forward to finally getting to Electric Forest and finally meeting everyone in person. It's going to be a great time. But yeah, so my point with that is that you can have more than one rave fam. You can belong to more than one rave fam, and you just gotta radiate plur, and your vibe will attract your tribe, right? So with that, I'm gonna play you guys another song because I feel like I've been talking for a while. This is Heavy Love by Andrew Rael and Max Vangeli. Oh man, guys, I almost did it again. I got carried away with that song, and I almost forgot that it was almost over. I tend to do that a lot with this music because it just has that power over me, honestly, and I just get so carried away by the sound that I completely forget what I'm doing, and I'm just like so absorbed in the song. Yeah, this music is awesome like that, right? Anyway, so you're listening to The Dancing Dreamers with DJ Damashii on MSP Waves Radio. And I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. Everybody who's tuned in right now, either through the Discord, through the MSP server, or through the MSP website or through Twitch. You guys are all awesome for taking the time out of your night to listen to me talk about EDM culture for 2 hours and play music for you guys. I really appreciate that so much. Honestly, I can't even express fully just how much I truly appreciate you being here for this show. Uh, Before I do go into my next segment, I do have to remind all the listeners that MSP Waves Radio and its owners take no responsibility for the opinions or statements made by the talk show host or their guests. Statements and show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of the radio station. The material on the Dancing Dreamers with DJ Damashii is provided for educational and informational purposes only. All right, so now that I've gone over, my Get Lucky experience and how I was adopted into a rave fam, now that I've talked about rave fams for a little while, I do want to go into rave names, and I want to revisit this subject because I did give rave names to three members of my new rave fam that I am a new part of, and I found out, or I was reminded, I guess, that uh, a lot of people still don't know that rave names are a thing, and a lot of people don't understand why it's so important, right? So I wanted to go into that. But before I get into that, like I said, the last song I got way too caught up in the music, and I actually have to use the restroom. Completely forgot about that because I was too busy dancing and singing along, right? So I'm gonna play you guys another song before I go into this whole rave name thing. So this is One Last Night on Earth. All right, we're back once again, everyone. That was "One Last Night on Earth" by Dada Life. Oh man, such a good song. Dada Life is one of my favorites. Those of you who've been listening to my show know this. I love Dada Life so much. Anyway, so tonight we're branching now into the subject of rave names. So the last time I talked about rave names, back in the third episode of my show, man, it's so crazy to think I've come such a long way since those days, right? I'm on the 11th episode now. But anyway, back in the third episode of my show, I also discussed rave names. And back then, I went a bit into detail about mystery schools. I won't get too big into detail on that this time around. But basically, I talked about mystery schools because rave names, the concept of rave naming someone, it ties into this aspect of mystery schools back in the day, where the initiates would get a new name. And this is a practice that goes on to this day with certain mystery schools and certain groups, certain churches, like the Mormon Church. But anyway, the reason why it ties into mystery schools is because back in that third episode, I mentioned how I suddenly came to this epiphany that raves are basically a modern day decentralized mystery school. And so as part of this, mystery school experience of the rave, part of that is getting a new name, which is the rave name that you are given at a rave. And so the reason I'm talking about rave names now is because, like I said, the people in this rave fam that I'm a new member of, they don't. I guess they've never really even heard that rave names were a thing. And so, part of this whole concept of getting this new name in the mystery school was this idea of this need for a spiritual death and rebirth. And this was symbolized, typically that after this death, the rebirth was accompanied by being given this new name to the initiate, to represent that they were no longer the person that they were before the initiation, but had been transformed into this completely new person, in line with the spiritual knowledge taught within the mystery school, right? And so likewise, in a similar vein, the rave name is a very vital aspect of rave culture because it symbolizes your own death and rebirth within the rave culture. Being given a rave name and using that rave name when you're at a rave, it symbolizes that within the walls of the rave, you are no longer the person that you were outside. You're no longer who you are in your everyday life. You're this new person, who is, who lives Plur and who lives the rave life. You're this new person that, whatever your rave name is, that's who you are, and that symbolizes who you are at the rave. Like I said, it's very, very similar to mystery schools and this concept of initiation through mystery schools. And this is important. This is a very vital aspect of the rave scene, of the rave culture, because, to revisit 2 points that I brought up in previous shows, the rave has this real potential to cause this true massive paradigm shift among people. It breaks down all these false notions that we were fed growing up, and it replaces them with this truth of our human existence, that we are supposed to be helping each other to grow and succeed in life. It removes this false idea that we always need to only be looking out for ourselves, this whole survival of the fittest mentality, and it replaces it with this brief glimpse of what the world could look like if we truly took care of each other and operated from this mindset of mutual survival through cooperation. And that's this mindset that we try to instill in each other at raves. And it's part of the magic of the rave that, everybody that I've talked to, that I've brought to raves, and that I've talked to who are first time ravers, one of the common things that they say is, I wish the outside world could be more like it is here inside the rave. And that's something that, that's a sentiment that you take with you when you leave the rave. And that's why it's important to get this rave name, because part of getting this rave name and gaining this, essentially this new idea within the walls of the rave, is that you learn things within the walls of the rave, and you take these lessons that you learn and you bring them with you in the outside world, and you continue to radiate plur to everyone that you meet. And that's how you get more people to become interested in the rave, and that's how you teach more people about the rave, and that's how you bring more people into this rave culture, and that is how you grow plur. It is a very, very vital aspect of it all. And so, oh man, with that, I'm gonna play you guys another song. This one is, let me see, what should I play for you guys? I think I'm gonna play. You know what? Let's play some hardstyle. I haven't played hardstyle tonight, so let's play. This is Mellow by Showtek and TNT. All right, we're back. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is The Dancing Dreamers with DJ Damashii on MSP Waves Radio. And again, that was Mellow by Showtek and TNT. All right. It seems that RoboRaver has joined us in the audience chat. And once again, everyone, he is the one who won the giveaway for my first try at Raving Through Steam last week. So thank you for joining us, RoboRaver. All right, so let's see. What was I talking about before this song? I was talking about rave names and why they're important, right? So going back to the rave name and why it's so important, right? And why I believe that everyone who raves should have a rave name. Which is, by the way, not something you decide on your own. It's something that somebody, a quote unquote established raver has to give to you. And so that's one of my goals now going forward. Every rave that I go to with this rave fam that I'm a part of now, I'm going to make it a point to give everyone a rave name, because yeah, it's a vital aspect of the raving experience in my opinion, honestly. And it serves the reason why I say that. Why bestowing a rave name onto someone is such a significant act. Um, it serves as the significator of the raver's own spiritual death and rebirth within the rave community, within the walls of this rave mystery school that we're all a part of. And if they take to it and they actually start to go by that name, that rave name at future raves, it subconsciously reprograms their mindset every time, to fully embody the principles we learn at raves, plur, and all that, and all the significant life truths that we learn at raves that come with going to raves. And like I said, it's not just some random thing that you can come up with yourself. It's not a name that is just randomly given out without any thought to it. It has to mean something or be connected in some way to the person being named, which makes them different from every other mystery school name that's given to initiates. Because like for instance, in one of the ones that I'm involved in, which will not be named, they just give you a name that has no connection at all to who you are, and so that's why, that's why a lot of people actually forget their new name, in this particular group that I am in. Not my rave fam, but this other mystery school that I'm in, basically. But anyway, yeah, it's a very important aspect of rave names that they have to be connected to the people that you name. For instance, I gave 3 rave names out this past weekend to 3 members of this rave family that I am a part of now. One of them, the very first friend that I named, I gave him the name of Hikari, which is Japanese for light. And the reason I gave him that is because he's a glover, and he gives amazing light shows. Honestly, he's so good at it. But that's not the only reason. Another reason that I chose to give him the name Hikari, is because his energy is just so light, and it's very intoxicating, his energy. I loved it. I love being around him, and I love hanging out with him. It's just, yeah, he makes me feel good, basically. And then the second person who I gave a rave name to, I named him Suruanu, which is it's a Chamorro name for or not name, but it's a Chamorro word for like the village shaman or village healer, wise man type. And I gave him the name of Suruanu because in our rave fam, he is that person. He's that guy that everybody goes to for wisdom on supplements and what to take and how they interact with other substances and stuff. And he was very knowledgeable on all of that stuff. And so in my mind, it was a given. It was a no-brainer. I was like, oh, he's definitely the Suruanu of our group. So I gave him Suruanu, and he seemed to like it. So I hope that that name takes, and he goes by it in future raves. And the third person that I named, my friend Michael, who I finally gave him a rave name, and I chose to name him Shepherd, because I talking to other people in the rave fam, I gathered that he was the reason that we all ended up joining the rave fam, and he was the friend that brought us in, and just made us feel at home and made us feel loved and welcome, and much like a shepherd kind of like guides people to where they need to be. And so I think my friend Michael knew that all of us needed a rave fam, and he knew that we would fit in with the rave fam that he was a part of. And so Michael, thank you so much. Honestly, it truly means the world to me that you ventured out and put your neck out there for me, and brought me into this amazing rave fam that I'm now a part of. And I love it all so much, and everyone is just so amazing. So Yeah, that's rave names for you guys. That's why it's important, and that's why it has to be connected to the person you're naming in some way, shape, or form. And that's if it's connected to that person, it'll also you have a better chance that person will take to it and that they'll like it and that they'll start going by it. So typically, when people are rave named, part of that rave naming ritual is that they will also receive a piece of candy that has that rave name on it, either that same night or shortly after they're named or the next rave that you guys all go to. And the reason that is because if you just give someone a rave name, a random rave name, and like they might not connect with it if they don't have something to really truly remember it by. So for the people in my rave fam, I definitely plan on giving you guys candy next time that we all rave together. Candy with that name, with your names on them. Because that's something that has been super special to me ever since I got my rave name at EDC last year. uh it just so happened that Tony, my friend who gave me my rave name, already had a candy with that name on it, and he gave it to me, and so it is very much a part of who I am now, and I hope that if I give you guys candy and rave name you and stuff, that it will become a part of who you are as a raver as well. And so with that, yeah, with that, let me play you guys another song before I bring some guests on the air with me. This one will be. This one is Reaching Out. All right, everyone. Again, that was "Reaching Out" by Nero. Such a good song. I love Nero. Nero's always been one of my favorites too. They always put like really good music out like that. But anyway, before I bring my guest on, I just wanted to read a few things that were posted in the chat. I just want to address these points. Philodendron said raves have always been an odd event for me. Half of it is a very energy charged experience, a special show to be relished in the moment with those there, and half of it is just overwhelming, just too filled with people and chaos. Then it makes me feel like having a beer outside with the smokers. Yes, Philodendron, you have just described the rave experience, basically. It is definitely a mixture of all those things. And that's the beautiful thing about the rave is that you don't always just have to be, on the dance floor listening to music and enjoying the show and whatnot. Part of it is definitely roaming around and going outside and being social with everybody else who felt, the need to go outside for a little bit. It's definitely, you don't have to feel like that's an odd thing. That's definitely something that is very, very normal about raving. All right, and so the second thing I wanted to read is what Chaos Reigns TV posted. He said, to sociologist Michael Mafisoli, rave parties are proof that mass culture will end and that we're slowly coming back to tribe-like social cultures, where people belong to different temporary tribes depending on their own personal journey. So the Rave Names ritual totally fits in that description. Yes, I completely agree, Chaos Reigns TV, and it's I would have to say that what you just wrote is definitely something that I love about rave culture, is that it is a breaking down of mass culture. Everything that we're used to seeing in the day-to-day drudgery of daily society and mass culture, it's not, it's not present. It doesn't thrive within the walls of the rave, and that's why I love it so much, because like I feel like rave culture is something, if we can manage to take rave culture and radiate it out into the real world when the rave ends, we can combat mass culture and essentially kill mass culture. Because I believe personally, and this is just my personal opinion, that I believe that mass culture is toxic to humanity, to the progress of humanity. Culture as we have it today, mass culture has led to just this gradual steep decline in the progress of humanity. And so I feel like raving is a very key aspect in combating that and bringing about, true progress for the whole of humanity. So thank you for saying that, Chaos Reigns TV. I appreciate that. All right, so let's see. So with that, I think it's time to bring on my guest. This is he was on. Wow, he kind of just disappeared. Hold on one second. I'm gonna try to figure this out. In the meantime, let's see. So Robo Raver, he's been chatting in the audience chat, and everybody's kind of been congratulating him on how lucky he's been lately, because his luck apparently has continued, even after being chosen to push the button. And so he's just had this like really huge string of good luck lately. And everyone is kind of like, oh, there must be a reason that the universe is putting all these things in your path or whatever. And so he's finally said that he feels like he knows the reason, but he hasn't really shared it with too many people yet. And so he says that maybe, just maybe one of these days he'll share it with me and the rest of the show. So let's see. So yeah, that's gonna be cool. I look forward to that, Robo Raver. Hopefully you'll come on the air with me one of these weeks. If you're off, I understand that you are working during my show time usually. So yeah, hopefully that'll work out. All right. Sorry guys, I'm just I've been trying to work this out with one of my friends on Facebook has agreed to be my guest tonight. And so right now we're just trying to figure out his audio situation. And let's see if he can hear me. Brant, can you hear me right now?
Yeah, dude, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, cool.
All right, yeah. If anyone's listening right now in the audience chat, let me know if you can hear my guest. Yeah,
Hello,
hopefully.
hello, hello.
All right. I think somebody's about to type that they can hear you. Hopefully. But in the meantime, guys, this is my friend Brant on Facebook. I've never actually met him in person, but we've been friends on Facebook for a while. And he is also into raving and whatnot. So I asked him if he would be willing to come on the air tonight to talk about his raving experiences. Um, so yes, they can definitely hear you, dude. So that's perfect.
Awesome.
So yeah, so why don't we start this off by tell us all like how long you've been raving and what brought you into raving in the first place.
I've been raving probably about probably 10 years now. I've been into electronic music since I was like really young. It wasn't really big in my area because I was in the Central Valley of like California where it seems not really that big. So I couldn't really get into actual raving until I was old enough to drive and actually travel to them. So yeah, that was like kind of how it started off.
Nice. Did you start off like going to undergrounds and stuff, or did you hit up like festivals
Um,
and shows?
Honestly, I went to a couple undergrounds in the Central Valley, but they were shit. Like no plur at all. Everyone was super judgmental. Like the scene was kind of dead. So I started. Actually, went to my first show, which was the massive in. It was Beyond Wonderland in San Bernardino. I met one of my first rave fam members who was in a crew called EBK that invited me to an underground scene in San Diego that like I fell in love with, dude. That's like where techno really stole my heart. It was really like that tribal vibe. Everyone just kind of like just out there in the woods, just really just invoking that trance from the music. It was just super awesome. What I was looking for in the scene.
Nice. That sounds pretty sick, dude.
Yeah,
So
dude, it was beautiful.
so then do you have a rave name yourself? Has somebody given
Um,
you one?
yeah, dude, Brant actually was kind of my rave name. It came out of my like OG rave fam, which is like my friends from the Central Valley, and we used to travel to all these places from either NorCal or SoCal, just all over the place, just traveling. And they kind of just called me Bartholomew out of nowhere, and kind of like because I was like the guider of like the whole group, and I was like the spiritual guider for everyone because I was kind of always tying in electronic music with spirituality, all crazy, and
Oh,
like
nice, dude. Man,
yeah.
it sounds like you like would really like the stuff that I've been talking about in my previous episodes then. And I would love to like I'd love to have you on the show like in a larger capacity in the future, like not just half an hour on this. I honestly originally intended to have you on at like 7 o'clock, but I just like I said earlier in my show, when I plan this stuff out, I always wonder how I'm gonna end up taking the whole first hour, and I always end up going all the way into like the second hour. But so what would you say is like your favorite EDM raving memory out of all these shows and events that you've gone to?
That's a that's a hard one. Probably going undergrounds in San Diego, dude. Just because like you'd have to like get like six different text messages from people, and it was like kind of like a little like journey to get to like the spot, because you'd have to meet people at this certain spot, meet them at this spot, and then you get other directions. So like I don't know. Whenever I first started getting into it, probably just like trying to find these little secret spots is probably my best memory. And then kind of like whenever you get to it, the nice reward like that you would get from just like collectively getting together in this little spot and making it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, that's I mean honestly, that's why I love the underground scene so much is because it's a mission to make it to those shows a lot of times. And like I really love that old school underground feel where you do have to like get all these different messages and like piece together the clues to find out where the actual location is. I feel like it really brings out like the most dedicated ravers with the true plur vibes who are like, I need to get to the show because I need my plur fix, and like so I'm gonna piece together all these clues and make sure that I can make it and I can find this place.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's really why it manifested itself to me because I'd go to all these shows spreading plur, dude, giving out free joints of like all the weed I would grow, dude, trying to meet all these people. And like I'd get kind of dissed a lot of the time. You know what I mean? That just surprised me. And then some girl, one of my best friends now, actually invited me to my first rave fam. She told me, she's like, dude, the scene's dead anymore. Like, you need to go underground. She told me that straight up. And so that's what shot me underground.
Ah, okay. See, people that say that the scene is dead though, like I take issue with that because in my experience, just me personally, everywhere I've gone so far in the past year or so that I've been back in the scene, I've seen nothing but Plur vibes everywhere, and so it always confuses me when I hear people say that Plur is dead or the scene is dying. Like, and I think it has a lot to do with just your personal vibe and what you radiate out into the universe, because I've always been about those Plur vibes, and so that's what I've always seen from other people, you know. And I
100%, dude.
yeah,
100% believe.
I personally believe that if you're if you think that Plur is dying, then you have to take it upon yourself to spread it out even more, and to truly, make an even bigger effort to spread it out, and teach people, newcomers to the scene, what it's all about. Because if we don't teach it to the newcomers, then of course it's gonna die, because all these newcomers know is, oh my god, this music is popular, it's playing everywhere, and I'm gonna go to this rave and party my ass off, and like,
Exactly.
yeah.
And there's all these kids who don't know any knowledge about drugs, taking all these substances, just because of all the social media bullshit around it and all the like, kind of like the mainstream culture that surrounds it, not the actual true Plur culture that people need to really understand.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why, people like you and I, that's where we come in. And so that's why every time I love meeting first time ravers at these things that I go to, and because it's always, such a great opportunity for me, not just to teach them Plur, but for me to also remind myself what it's all about, and to remind myself why I go to these things, and why I love raving, and why I believe in rave
Hmm.
culture.
Amen, brother. And like, I really like your concept of it being the raves a mystery school, dude. All these people are going into these, invoking this trance, getting into these higher states of consciousness, and like, who knows what they're invoking if they're not conscious of like actual those like what they're doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. There's so much energy that's just floating around at raves, and people don't realize that the music that we listen to, it actually does place us into a state of trance, and it places our it makes us very like receptive and susceptible to energies if we're not careful, and if we don't know what we're doing. And
Hmm.
that's part of the reason why I started this radio show, and why I wanted to talk about the more esoteric side of raving.
Hmm. Yeah. Amen, dude. Straight up.
So what's been your experience with, like, with rave fams then? Are you like in a lot of them, or do you have just like a main
Um,
one?
I have like my main one, which is all my friends in the Central Valley that I kind of travel around with to go to different shows. We haven't gone to a show in a long time. The last one was probably Lightning in a Bottle, where we actually met up with a lot of the Weird Hollywood Youth rave fam. We kind of collaborated with them at Lightning in a Bottle, which was super cool.
I'm so
uh,
jealous.
yeah, dude, I bet it was tight, dude. Maybe next time you could show up, it'd be sick. But yeah, and then I have that underground fam down in San Diego, which I haven't seen in a really long time because now I'm currently up here in Humboldt County. And Humboldt County has a really interesting rave scene too, dude. It's super experimental bass scene, and like it's really really interesting because like it's a whole like small clique of people up here, and all the company production companies kind of run it. You know what I mean? And all of them are so linked together that it's just super interesting to see unravel up here.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick. Are you involved in any of the production companies too, or are you just like
I've
enjoying
done
their
a couple
shows?
outreach for the show. This company called Purple Couch. They bring a lot of cool bass artists up here. A lot of more like down tempo bass artists, so like Goop Steppa, Ataya, another kind of underground. I don't know if you've heard of them, but yeah, they've been doing some pretty cool stuff. They bring a lot of like glass artists and visual artists. They'll do like live painting and stuff. It really brings like a nice vibe, dude, and it really like brings the Plur type of energy. I feel like.
Nice. All right. So I'm gonna interrupt our little conversation here real quick to play a song, and then we'll get right back into it.
Awesome,
So
brother.
yeah. So everyone, this is Superhuman by Slander. All right, everyone. We're back. Once again, you're listening to The Dancing Dreamers with DJ Damashii on MSP Waves Radio. We're live on the air with my friend on Facebook, Brant, who's been talking about his experiences with raving and his involvement in the underground scene, particularly as well. And that song that we just listened to was "Superhuman" by Slander. It's such a beautiful song. I love it so much. Slander was actually here in Salt Lake City for Get Lucky, and he dropped that track. And one of the coolest parts of that night was when he dropped that track, and I just looked around, and everyone that I saw was just singing along with that song, and everyone was like linked up with their friends and swaying back and forth, and it was pure magic. I loved it so much. So, Brent, we're back on the air. And so we're talking about raving and whatnot. So I wanted to ask you, we have actually just about 5 minutes left for you to talk about stuff. So one of the things that I make a point to ask everyone that guests on my show, because my show is called The Dancing Dreamers with DJ Damashii, I make it a point to ask everyone that comes on my show what their dreams are in life. So, Brent, if you don't mind sharing with the audience of my radio show, what are your dreams? Oh, he's gone. I don't see him. Hold on one second. Let me move him back into my channel. Yeah, I don't know how that happened, but he got moved somehow. So I'm about to move him now. Now.
We're broken up from where we really are, you know?
All right. So somehow you got
Can you hear me?
transferred. Yeah, I can hear you now. Somehow you got transferred out of this channel. So I was asking, what are your dreams? And that was it. I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, dude. So my dream is basically to build community back to whatever the fuck it probably was way back in the day, you know? Like, our whole civilization just broken up, dude. We're so away from community, and I feel like the rave scene's really like a kind of like the capstone to do that. Like, it's really showing people what community does, how altruistic values actually have benefit towards society, and it's just really, I don't know, dude. My dream is just really to build community, dude. As little as that, you know, and start local and just branch out.
Absolutely. And don't ever like think that it's a little thing, because it's not. That is a huge dream. And no dream is too small, honestly. I personally believe. And especially something like that, like your dream is to build community, like that is such a huge thing for not just for you, not just for me, but for the whole of humanity, I feel like. And that's why I feel like raving is such an important thing, like you said. I feel like the rave is exactly how we can get that to start happening, for people to realize the value of community and true, I don't even know what word I'm looking for, but true unity amongst, amongst complete strangers. Like, where else will you find that? I haven't been able to find it anywhere other than the rave.
Yeah, amen, dude. And like, it gives us a nice break from this individualistic like values that we have in this American mythology, basically, that we live in. You know, it shows you that basically working together, you can build better things. You can grow better together. Like, it's not all about me versus you. It's not trying to look better than your fellow man. You know what I mean? What can you guys build together, and what can you really create together? I think that's really, really the key, where power really lies. You know?
Exactly, and that's why I love like talking about rave fams and stuff, because I think rave fams, not just the rave scene in general, but rave fams specifically, are a very key aspect of this whole community building thing. And because like the saying goes, your vibe attracts your tribe. And so if you continue to radiate plur, you will attract people to you, your tribe of other people who believe in plur and who believe in the power of community building.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Exactly. And that's what I've been doing ever since being involved in the rave scene, especially up here in Humboldt. I mean, that's how I met my roommates I live with now, is just like going out there and dancing, dude, and just showing them that like being one with yourself and just like figuring out yourself and not caring about the judgment of others, dude, is really how you just find that golden light inside yourself. And through finding that golden light inside yourself, it inspires others to do that within them.
Absolutely. I really love that you said that, because that's something that I wanted to mention as well earlier in my show, about an aspect of rave femmes that I truly have come to love and appreciate now that I have myself been accepted into this rave fam that I'm in now. It's just being a part of a rave fam. You truly, like, I always say that at a rave you feel free to be yourself, but it's even like it takes it even a step further when you're a part of a rave fam, because I feel like in general at a rave, yes, I'm free to be myself, but there's still always that fear that exists that, oh, well, what if like the people that I meet, they won't like who I am as a person or whatever. Whereas with my rave fam that I just met these guys like this weekend, most of them, and yet the sheer amount of love and acceptance of who I am as a person has been like nothing else I have ever seen or experienced in my life before. And being with them this past weekend, I felt completely 100,000% comfortable being exactly who I am at my deepest core as a human being. And that is something I will always be so grateful to these people for.
Exactly, bro. And I think it kind of shows you unconscious bias as well. So maybe you didn't want all these things that you thought you wanted. Maybe you didn't want to control all this shit that you thought you wanted, or media and all this bullshit told you needed and wanted, And I think really having a community to just base your ideas upon and reflect on, like, can really show you that and exhibit that to you.
Absolutely. All right, man. Brant, thank you so much for agreeing to come on my show this week. I hope that in a future episode you'll be down to come on and we can discuss more in depth with, like, the whole metaphysical, esoteric side of raving. But the show is about to come to an end here. So are there any like last comments or shout outs that you'd like to give before we bid farewell to you?
Just shout out to you, brother, for letting me join you on this conversation, and I'd be more than happy to help you out with future shows too, dude.
Hell yeah, that's sick, dude. I will definitely keep that in mind, and we will keep in touch on Facebook and stuff in the future for that. Thank you so much again.
Brother.
Yeah.
Also, if you've ever been humbled, dude, hit me up.
Oh, for sure.
To my house.
Yeah, I'll definitely hit you up if I'm ever in your neck of the woods. Likewise, if you ever find yourself in Salt Lake City, dude, hit me up and let me know.
Awesome, brother.
All right. Well, everyone, that was my friend Brant. And yeah, thank you so much for being on my show, dude. I really appreciate it. So my show now is coming to a close, everyone. I really do appreciate you all being here tonight with me. Everybody in the audience who's been chatting and engaging in this conversation with me. You guys are all awesome, and honestly, you guys make this show worth it every week. I really appreciate that you guys take the time out of your night for 2 hours to be here with me and listen to me talk about EDM culture and listen to me drop, these tracks that hopefully you guys enjoy every week. And with that, I just wanted to say thank you again to Global Cop and Rondon and the station managers at MSP Waves Radio for allowing me to have this show and for supporting my efforts every step along the way. I would not be here on the air tonight if you guys were not there helping me make sure that this show is always successful every single week. So thank you guys so much. And with that, I'm going to play you guys the song I always close my shows out with. This is Ordinary Life by The Prophet.